New York acquired 3-and-D specialist OG Anunoby and 2 other players from the Raptors. SA, talk to me. You like the trade?
I'm not moved. I'm not moved. Let me say this. I'm not moved. Let me say this. I'm not moved. Let me say this.
So, it's been a little over a week at this point since the New York Knicks went out and acquired this man from the Toronto Raptors. And in OG Anunoby's tenure as a New York Knicks so far, he is averaging a whopping 12 points, 5 rebounds, and just over 1 assist per game. And some of you are probably wondering, why the hell are we talking about this guy? Well, ever since that trade became a reality, the Knicks have yet to lose a game at the time I'm recording this video. They're posting one of the most historical net ratings through any stretch of basketball that we have ever seen. And OG Anunoby's plus-minus so far, it's something that you'd only see out of a video game. But trust me, you guys, the numbers that we're seeing so far, that is only half of the story. Because the film that we've seen so far, on the other hand, it's almost something that you need to see to believe. But before we get into that, today's video is brought to you by our friends at Good Shop. Good Shop is the ultimate meat and seafood subscription service that provides you seamless access to a number of different high-quality products. Whether it's steaks, salmon, chicken, burgers, bacon, you name it, Good Shop says there's something for everyone. And yeah, I can definitely testify to that, because it's really as easy as choosing your favorites from their 60+ options of high-quality cuts, receiving the goods by mail, and being able to whip up a ribeye in a matter of minutes at home whenever I want. And to top all of this off, Good Shop offers a 100% money-back guarantee, meaning straight up, either you love Good Shop or you get your money back. And if you guys go to goodshop.com/YouTube and use code HoopsDigest120 or click the link in the description down below, you'll get $120 off across your first 4 Good Shop boxes. It's really too good to pass up. So again, that's goodshop.com/YouTube, code HoopsDigest120 for $120 off at the one and only Good Shop. So when the New York Knicks initially made this trade, acquiring OG Anunoby alongside both Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa in exchange for, of course, Barrett Quickley and a future second-round pick, I mean, sure, it absolutely made headlines, and it even caught a fair share of the NBA world, I would say by surprise for the most part, New York Knicks fans being included. But it's just the fact that initially when this happened at least, nobody was really sure how much this necessarily moved the needle for either team's perspective. Because I mean, from what the rumors had been telling us at least, OG had been one of the more highly coveted trade targets in the league over these last couple of years. And when New York ends up getting their hands on him and their title odds literally don't even budge, yeah, some of you Knicks fans out there, you probably weren't too happy. But now what we're gonna do is fast forward about a week or so after New York actually pulled the trigger on this trade, and we're gonna see where they currently sit. Now, yes, I get it. This is a very small sample size that we're working with here. But their offense, according to the numbers at least, has looked like one of the best in all of basketball with OG plugged into it. Their defense has seemingly improved leaps and bounds in a matter of days with what this guy has been able to showcase on the court, and not even to mention, they're just flat out bullying their way through some of these games. So I mean, is a guy who's putting up averages this season of around 15, 4, and 2.5 per game up to this point really making this drastic of a difference for this team? You guys, I'm not even sure words can do it justice. Now, when you're talking about a guy like OG Anunoby, whether it's his averages, his shooting splits, or even just his overall effort on either side of the floor, it's pretty clear that when you sit back and look at the film on this guy, he is pretty much the pure definition of an elite level 3-and-D piece. And while it's probably also true that a guy like OG, especially with his skill sets, could fit almost seamlessly into any NBA rotation that you look at, you cannot overstate how desperately the Knicks needed a guy like this. Let's start by looking into their quote-unquote new look style of offense. Because this side of the ball for this team this season, it was definitely not the issue. I mean, for the most part, you have Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle leading the way and initiating this offense on some pretty efficient numbers so far throughout the season. Then there's pieces like new acquisition Donte Divincenzo, Josh Hart, Quinten Grimes, etc., who have all done a phenomenal job this season in terms of stretching the floor from the perimeter, as their numbers in this regard would absolutely back that up. up. But then when you throw OG into the mix with different assets like his size, his explosiveness, and of course the perimeter shooting on top of all of that, you have the perfect formula. Just think about this trade in the simplest sense possible from the Knicks perspective. You're essentially just subtracting what many Knicks fans consider to be a bad contract and a player who is too ball dominant to seemingly succeed in an offense that already features Brunson and Randle who do this more effectively. Then it's really just a substitution of high-level perimeter offense for high-level perimeter offense coupled with off-ball movement, high-level interior offense, and of course the elite level defense. I mean guys, OG isn't just right there in terms of the offensive production on the outside compared to Emmanuel Quickley. He is also one of the most elite corner shooters in all of basketball this season, emphasizing the point even more that he can be efficient without the basketball. And whether that actually involves him spotting up on the outside, quick cuts to the rim to either look to score or create ball movement to find an open look, or even things as simple as more second chance opportunities. Point being in all of this is that this offense has never been more free-flowing and spread out than it is right now. And because of that, you are seeing the #1 offensive rating in all of basketball. And yes, even though OG's numbers as a Knick so far probably aren't sticking out to most of you that have been watching these games, I mean sometimes, and especially in this case, the impact is much greater than the production. But I'll just tell you guys this, if you want to talk about production, look no further than what this guy's done on the defensive end since he showed up in New York. Because the Knicks collectively this season, with having lower tier defensive numbers pretty much all across the board, it's safe to say that they were well below the threshold of what was to be expected from a roster like this. But guys, I mean now they're top 2 in the league and they ain't number 2. So that leaves the question, what has OG done for them? Well, to start, he's probably one of the most physically demanding defenders in the game today. He can guard any position on the court 1 through 5. His footwork is exceptional in almost any situation, no matter who he is covering. So yeah, it's not really what he can do, it's more so what he can't. And what's easily been the best part about all of this is that we've seen Tibbs waste absolutely 0 time utilizing this new strength. I mean, it has literally been every single game that we have seen OG Anunoby in a New York Knicks uniform up to this point, where he has done the majority, if not all of the work in terms of guarding the opposition's best player. Like, no matter what lens you look at it through, in the purest sense possible, he is the lockdown defender and wing stopper that this team desperately needed to take that next step. And well, whether it's the improvements on offense that we're seeing, the stellar play on defense, or hell, even just the impact he's having on this entire roster, that's where I want to hear what you guys have to think. So please let me know in the comments, what has surprised you the most from everything that we've seen from this team since they pulled the trigger on this trade? And as always, if you had to, predict what the record is going to be heading into the 2024 playoffs. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all more than anything, and I will see you guys in the next video.